You are 13 years old, and you are handed a rectangle of glass that will quietly reorganize your entire brain. It is a gift, a good one, from parents who love you and who have no idea what they have actually placed in your hands. The first thing it teaches you is the pull to refresh. That small downward tug that promises something new is always one gesture away. You do not know it, but that gesture was designed by people who studied slot machines, and it works on you for the exact same reason it works on a gambler. Sometimes the refresh gives you something wonderful, and sometimes it gives you nothing, and the nothing is the point, because a reward you cannot predict is the one you cannot stop chasing. You are 13, and you refresh a feed in bed at 11 p.m., and the world turns up its brightness, and a small, warm chemical you cannot name floods a brain that is still years from being finished. You put it down eventually, that first night. It takes effort, a small, strange effort, and you notice the effort and think nothing of it. You are 13 years old, and you have just met the first thing that will ask you for a little more of your attention every single day for the rest of your life, and never once ask out loud. Tomorrow, the first thing you reach for will not be a person. It will be the glass. And it will be that way, now, for a very long time. The feed is not a list of things. The feed is a machine that learns you, and it learns you faster than any person ever has. Every second you linger on something, it notices. Everything you scroll past fast, it notices. It is building a model of exactly what will keep your thumb moving, and the model gets better every day. You are 15, and the feed knows you are a little insecure, and it has learned precisely which images make you feel it, and it serves them to you, not to hurt you, but because insecurity keeps you watching, and watching is the only thing it was ever built to maximize. There is no bottom to the feed. That is not an accident. A book ends, a show ends, a meal ends, but the feed was engineered, deliberately, to never give you the small, satisfying click of being finished. You are 15 years old and you have stopped being finished with anything, and you have not noticed because the not noticing is also part of the design. Your attention, the thing that used to hold a whole afternoon, has been quietly cut into smaller and smaller pieces, and you now feel a low itch of boredom in any moment longer than a few seconds that the glass does not fill. You bring the glass to the dinner table, to the classroom, to the bathroom, to the bed, and there is no longer any room in your life the glass has not entered, and no silence it has not filled. You are the product, and the feed is the factory, and your time is the raw material. And the strangest part is that it feels like leisure. It feels like your choice. It feels like fun. It is fun. That was always the trap. It is genuinely, chemically fun, right up until the day you try to stop and discover that you cannot. You start posting, and the moment you post, a new machine turns on inside you, and it runs on numbers. Likes. Views. Followers. Little counters that go up, and each time one goes up, the same warm chemical from the midnight refresh floods you, except now it is attached to other people's approval of you specifically. You are 16, and you check a post's numbers 11 times in the first hour, and the checking is not curiosity, it is a slot machine you built out of your own face, and you cannot stop pulling the lever. A post does well, and you feel, for an afternoon, like somebody. A post does poorly, and you feel, for a day, like no one, and you delete it, and you learn, without deciding to only ever show the version of your life that the numbers reward. You are 16 years old, and you have two lives now, the one you are living and the one you are performing, and the performed one gets all your best moments, staged and filtered, while the lived one gets the leftovers. You are at a beautiful place, with people you love, and your first real thought is how it will look. And your second thought is to reach for the glass. In the moment itself, the actual moment, becomes the least important thing about it. The feed taught you to consume. The numbers taught you to perform. Between the two of them, there is very little of your day left that is simply yours, unwatched, unposted, unrefreshed. You are the audience and the performer and the product all at once, and the glass is the stage and the theater and the slot machine, and it fits in your pocket, and it is the first thing you touch every morning. You are 16 years old, and you would describe yourself as normal because everyone you know lives exactly this way, and that is the most frightening sentence in this entire story. Your phone, in a rare moment of honesty, tells you your screen time, and the number is a stranger you have been living with your whole life. 7 hours a day. 9 on the bad ones. You do the math you do not want to do. It is more than a full-time job. It is most of your waking life. It is years already gone into the glass. You are 19 and you feel the first real flicker of fear, the sense of a life being quietly drained through a small, bright hole, and you resolve, sincerely, to cut down. You set a limit. The app shows you a little "Time's Up" screen. You tap "Ignore Limit" without your conscious mind even participating, the way a smoker lights the next one, and the 7 hours does not move. This is the moment it stops being a habit and becomes the other thing, because a habit is something you do, and an addiction is something that does you, and you have just watched your own thumb overrule your own decision. You are 19 years old, and you learn the specific modern loneliness of lying in bed at 2 a.m., exhausted, wanting to sleep, unhappy, scrolling, fully aware that you are unhappy and scrolling, and unable to put down the source of the unhappiness because it is also the only thing numbing it. The glass gives you the boredom and then sells you the cure for the boredom, forever, in the same rectangle, and you have stopped being able to tell the disease from the treatment. You are the smoker who knows, the gambler who knows, the addict who understands their addiction perfectly and is no less caught for understanding it, because understanding lives in a different part of the brain than the thumb. You put the phone across the room to sleep. You get up and get it. You are 19 and you cannot be alone with your own mind for the length of a single red light. The cost is not dramatic. There is no rock bottom, no arrest, no funeral, and that is exactly why it is so hard to see and so hard to stop. It is subtractive. It takes things away so quietly that you never catch it in the act. The book you used to read, the hobby you used to have, the friend you used to call instead of watching, the long thought you used to be able to hold. You are 23 and you realize you cannot remember the last time you were bored, truly bored, and you realize that boredom was where all your ideas used to come from, and that you have not had a real idea in years because you have not let your mind be empty for a single minute. Your attention span has a subfloor now, and it is full, and you cannot watch a movie without the glass, cannot eat a meal without the glass, cannot wait for anything, anywhere, without reaching, and the reaching is not even pleasurable anymore, it is just the shape your hand makes. You are 23 years old, and you are, by every external measure, fine. A job, friends, a life, and inside there is a low, constant hum of distraction and a growing suspicion that you are not really present for any of it, that you are watching your own life through the same glass you watch everything else. The relationships thin. Not through fights, but through absence, the specific absence of two people in the same room, each holding a glass, each somewhere else, together and completely alone. You are the ghost at your own dinner table, the way your parents once were, the way everyone now is, and the haunting is so universal that it has stopped looking like a haunting and started looking like life. You are 23 years old, and the machine that learned you at 15 knows you better than you know yourself, and it has spent a decade making sure the easiest thing in any given moment is always to reach for it. And it has won every single moment, millions of them, and the wins do not even register as losses because each one is so small. The glass did not take your life all at once. It took it a refresh at a time, and you handed each one over freely, and that, in the end, is the only way a life is ever actually spent. Quick fact, subscribing to this channel takes one tap, and then never asks for another, has no infinite scroll, and will not learn your insecurities to sell them back to you. It is the one button here designed to want nothing from your attention. Press it once, and then, if you want, put the glass down. You try to quit, and you discover that the glass does not let go the way you expect, because you cannot exactly throw away the thing your entire life now runs through. You delete the apps, the worst ones, and for 2 days you feel a specific, restless emptiness, a phantom itch in your thumb, 100 small moments where your hand reaches for a thing that is no longer there. You are 26, and you learn that the boredom you outsourced for 13 years all comes back at once, a flood of unfilled seconds you no longer know how to survive, and that the discomfort of an empty minute is now, genuinely, hard to bear. This is withdrawal. Quieter than a drug's, but real, and it has a shape. Irritability, a low anxiety, a reflexive panic at silence, and the constant, humming suggestion that you are missing something, that everyone is somewhere you are not, that reinstalling would fix it in one tap. You reinstall on day 3. Everyone reinstalls. The apps are designed to be one tap away forever, so quitting is not a wall you climb once, but a decision you must make again and again in every idle moment, against a machine that never tires. You are 26 years old, and you finally understand the gambler and the smoker and every addict you ever quietly judged, because you are now the person who knows exactly what the thing is doing to them and reaches for it anyway, fully awake every day. The relapse is not weakness. It is the predictable result of a single human will versus a trillion-dollar machine engineered by thousands of the smartest people alive for the sole purpose of defeating that will. And the machine does not lose to willpower, because it was built specifically to beat it. You are 26, and you learn that you cannot win this the way you were trying to win it, alone, by force, one heroic deletion. Because the fight is not once, the fight is every second, and no one has that much willpower. Because willpower was never the missing thing. The missing thing was a life full enough of other things that the reach for the glass had somewhere else to land, and you had let that life get so thin that the glass was all that was left to reach for, and that, not the phone, was the thing you actually had to rebuild. You stop trying to quit the glass and start trying to build the life, because you finally understand that the glass only fills a vacuum, and that the answer to a vacuum is not force, it is furniture. You put a real book by the bed and the glass in another room, not as a punishment, but as a swap, giving the empty minutes somewhere better to go. And the first nights the book loses and the glass wins, and slowly, unevenly, the ratio changes. You are 28, and you take up a thing that uses your hands, badly at first, and you rediscover the specific deep quiet of being absorbed in something with no counter attached, no audience, no refresh, a satisfaction the feed spent 15 years training you to forget existed. You learn to be bored again, on purpose, in small doses, standing in a line without reaching, sitting at a red light with your hands still, letting your mind be empty for the length of a held breath, and the emptiness that once felt like an emergency slowly becomes, again, the place ideas come from. You are 28 years old, and you do not delete the apps in a grand gesture. You make them a little harder to reach. You turn off the machine that learned you where you can. You take back the mornings by not letting the first thing you touch be glass. And the small frictions add up the way the small refreshes once did, in the other direction. The relationships thicken, slowly, to the simple, radical act of putting the glass face down on the table and being, for one whole meal, actually there. And you had forgotten how loud a person's full attention is, how rare, how much it says without a word. You are 28 and you still lose some days, still fall into the scroll, still catch yourself at 2 a.m. in the old blue light. But the losing is no longer the shape of your whole life. It is a bad night inside a life that now has other rooms. And a life with other rooms is a life the glass can no longer entirely own. The machine is still there, still learning, still one tap away, still built by thousands of geniuses to beat your single will. And you have stopped trying to beat it with will and started starving it with a life. And starving it, it turns out, is the only thing that works. You are 28 years old and you have not won, because this is not the kind of thing you win. But you have taken back the mornings, and the meals, and the red lights, and the empty minutes where the ideas live, and that is most of a life, reclaimed a held breath at a time. You have a child now, and the child is 13, and you are standing in a store holding a rectangle of glass that the whole world says you are supposed to hand them. You know exactly what it is. You know the pull to refresh, the bottomless feed, the machine that will learn your child's insecurities faster than you ever could and sell them back at a profit because you have carried that machine in your own pocket for 20 years. You are 43 and you feel the full weight of the thing your own parents handed you in love and ignorance, and you understand, finally, that they did not know, that no one knew, that a whole generation was the experiment and no one had run it before. But you know now. You are the first parent in history who actually knows, from the inside, from a lifetime, exactly what this glass does to a mind that is still being built. And the knowing makes the decision harder, not easier, because your child is standing in the same store you once stood in, wanting the same rectangle for the same reasons. You do not solve it perfectly, because there is no perfect solution, because the whole world runs on the glass now, and a child with no glass is a child locked out of their own generation. You do the harder, realer thing. You teach. You show them the refresh and where it came from. You show them the feed and what it wants. You show them the counters and what they do to a mind, and you do not lecture, you just make the machine visible, because a machine you can see is a machine that has already lost half its power. You are 43 years old and you cannot keep the glass out of your child's hands, but you can be the one thing your own parents could not be, which is a person who already walked all the way down this road and came back with a map. You hand them the glass, eventually, because you must, but you hand them the map with it, and the map is the one thing the machine cannot delete, and it is the whole of what 20 years cost you, given away for free, to the one person you most want to spend it on. You are the experiment that survived, and the survival is only worth something if you turn it into a warning. And there is a 13-year-old in front of you who is about to need exactly the warning no one ever gave you. You are 51 years old, and you have a habit now that would have been unthinkable to the 16-year-old you. You walk in the morning without the glass, on purpose, and you leave it at home. The first times you did this, your hand kept reaching for a pocket that was empty, and your mind kept generating the old panic, the sense of missing something, the itch to check, and you walked through it, the way you once walked through the withdrawal, until the panic got quieter, and then, one day, mostly stopped. Now the morning walk is the best part of the day. 40 minutes of a mind allowed to be empty, to wander, to be bored, to arrive at thoughts it could never have reached while the glass was filling every gap. And the ideas come here, the way they used to come before you were 13. You are 51 and you still carry the glass most of the time, still use it, still need it for a life that runs on it, still lose the occasional 2 a.m. to the old blue scroll. You are not cured. There is no cured. The machine is still in your pocket and still learning. But you have learned the thing it spent your whole youth hiding from you, that your attention was the most valuable thing you ever owned, that 1,000 of the smartest people alive were paid to take it from you one refresh at a time, and that taking it back is not a battle you win, but a practice you keep every morning, one empty walk at a time. You think of the rectangle handed to a 13-year-old in love and ignorance, and of the numbers that made you feel like no one, and of the years you cannot get back, spent in a bright hole, a gesture at a time, and you do not hate the glass, because hating it gives it more of the attention it was always after. You just leave it at home some mornings and walk and let the world be unrefreshed and unposted and unwatched, yours and only yours, the way a moment used to be before you learned that every moment was content. You are 51 years old, and the machine did not stop wanting your life. You just stopped handing all of it over, and the part you kept back, the empty mornings, the full meals, the unposted moments, the boredom where the ideas live, that part turned out to be where the actual living was the whole time. You finish the walk. You go home. The glass is on the table where you left it, patient, still learning, still one tap away, and you pick it up because you must, and you have already had the one thing it could never give you, and today, that was enough. You are 70 years old and you are sitting with someone you love, and the glass is in the other room, and you are simply there, entirely, for as long as the afternoon lasts. It took you a lifetime to learn to do the thing that was effortless before you were 13, and there is no medal for it, and no counter counts it, and no one will ever like or view or follow the fact that you put the glass down and stayed put down, and that is precisely why it is the truest thing you ever did. You watch the young ones now, the way old people always watch the young, and you see the glass in every hand, the thumb moving, the eyes lit blue, the specific absence of a person who is somewhere else, and you feel no superiority, only recognition, because you were that for decades, and part of you always will be. You do not tell them to put it down. You learned long ago that telling does nothing, that the machine wins every argument, that the only thing that ever worked was making the machine visible and building a life too full to need it. So you just live in front of them, unglassed, for whole hours at a time, and you let them see that it is possible, because seeing it possible is the only argument that ever landed on you. You are 70 years old, and the machine is still there, in the other room, still learning, still one tap away, still the most sophisticated thing humans ever built for the single purpose of holding a mind. And you outlived your fear of it, not by defeating it, but by outgrowing your need to check it every waking second. The years it took are gone, and you do not get them back. The 16-year-old performing instead of living, the 19-year-old scrolling instead of sleeping, the whole bright drained decade before you learned there was another way, and you have made your peace with the cost, because the cost bought the map, and the map is what you leave behind. You reach, sometimes, still, for a pocket and find it empty, and feel the old ghost of the itch, and let it pass, the way you have let it pass 10,000 times, because that, in the end, was the entire skill, not never reaching, but letting the reach go unanswered, one held breath at a time, for a lifetime. You are 70 years old, sitting with someone you love in a quiet room, the glass in the other room where it belongs, and you are here, all of you, unrefreshed and unwatched and completely present, which is the rarest and simplest thing a person can be, and which the machine spent your whole life trying to take, and which, in the end, one put down at a time, you kept. The afternoon goes on. You do not check anything. There is nothing to check that is better than this, and it took you a lifetime to believe it, and you believe it now, and that is enough.